Rebate by prepaid debit card. Exclusions apply. See participating Ford dealer for rebate details through 8/31/14.
News Radio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Mark Lawrence and Ben Reichley.
Oh, I am sitting in for Mark Lawrence this morning, who is off on assignment. I had to ask him what he was doing. Are you just going to lay around and do nothing? Or are you on assignment? He is on assignment today, Mark Lawrence is. Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Oh, good morning, Ken. Yourself?
Oh, just fine. I always like it when I get a chance to be in here with you on a Friday. Kevin, I'm not going to go through all this stuff about how great Kevin is. We know that by what he does. The webcam is up and running, and we are about ready to get set to go for 90 minutes of open day. You're listening to On the Mark. On a Friday morning, I believe it's around the 8th of August. I don't know how we got there. Started summer yesterday, and now it's the 8th of August. On the Mark is brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company. They are a family-owned dealership since 1915. They're 4th Street, Sunbury, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Find out more at www.sunburymotors.com. By the way, I gave it a try. You don't have to put the www in. Just sunburymotors.com and kaboom, away we go. The Lenape Solar email in-basket is open. We have some from yesterday that we'll try to get a look at today, depending on how things go. Lenape Solar email in-basket is on the mark at WKOK.com. Lenape Solar is the fastest growing solar company in the valley. Solar power isn't just a good choice. It is the best choice. And I did mention, didn't I, that the webcam is up and running. What you do is go to the WKOK.com on your computer. Over on the left side, there are a list of things, On the Mark being one of them. Press that. A little TV screen pops up. Push the triangular button, and there's Ben sitting there in a blue shirt. Not the blue that I see in reality, slightly different blue by looking at the TV screen this morning. What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, boy. Tell you what, a very interesting week in the international world. You see the fiasco going on in Israel and with the Palestinians and Hamas. You see, unfortunately, what's happening in Iraq, just a debacle of just a shame what's going on in Iraq. And then also you have Putin in Russia doing his thing to antagonize people at best in the Western world. So internationally, and then also quietly over the last couple months, barely gets reported, but Venezuela. What's going on down in Venezuela, the protests, the people uprising against the Venezuelan government, but that is way down the list on what we see presently, what the media is covering, and what we're seeing on the media reports.
And as you see it, Venezuela should be given more coverage, and if you think so, why?
No, it's just what's going on in Venezuela, and the uprising of the people down there is just off the scale from the media reports. It's just that the other things are far hotter, and it's an entertainment media. News has become an entertainment industry, and Venezuela is not that entertaining compared to the Middle East and Russia and Iraq.
Well, no,
unfortunately,
and you know. In the old days, and I know about those because I lived through them, in the old days, we used to actually report news and to heck with entertainment. I am absolutely sick and tired of listening to news people talk about the Kardashians and the movie stars and the baseball stars and all that sort of thing. Most of that isn't news. That is entertainment, and it certainly should be there. My estimation is it shouldn't be in the newscast. That's a change that's been made we can't do anything about.
No, it's just it's not so much the entertainment part of the news, but the news that leads are it's a bigger revolt in a bigger conflict with the Israelis and Hamas. It's a bigger conflict in Israel. It's a larger than, but I said Venezuela, something that's been going on for literally the last probably 90 days that really started. That started to I think in May you got some initial reports, but no, the hot spots of the world are leading in the international news coverage.
Okay, now let's go to, let's just pick a topic here. Let's pick an international topic for a moment and see if we get response. We have an open phone here, 1-800-795-9565. And, of course, we have the Lenape Solar in-basket, which is on the market, WKOK.com. But tell me, a very difficult and delicate balance between Israel and Palestine now. And I'm talking about the United States position, not necessarily what's going on there, but our position. What is your take on what President Obama and John Kerry should be doing?
Well, the looking at it, I'm not sure it's the Palestinians so much as the Palestinians being pulled in by Hamas.
Oh, yes.
So you have some different scenarios. It's not going to get better any faster. And one of the things that have come out is that our support for the Palestinians, unfortunately, Hamas has taken the money. Well, of course, Hamas has been elected by the Palestinians, or was it 40%? But again, you have a split within the Palestinians with Hamas group and the Palestinians, and you have, of course, two separate states in the Gaza and the West Bank for the Palestinians. But the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the organization that was led by Yasser Arafat, somewhat corrupt, and you can see where the Arafat's relatives, living in Europe or living off of some of that money. But right now, when you try to give the United States trying to help the Palestinians in Gaza, that money going, Hamas seizing that and moving it in the direction they want, and you see some of the unfortunate incidences. The construction that could be building houses and hospitals, or building tunnels to get into Israel and create havoc. So, it's not juggling 3 balls there. You're juggling 5 balls.
And of course, it goes back in history for thousands of years.
Thousands of years, but recently, 1921, of course, 1948, and so forth. But right now, it's very interesting to take now. From the media side is what they're showing, and Hamas and what Hamas's tactics have been. Unfortunately, the deaths of the Palestinians, at the hands of not just Israel in the conflict, but Hamas, the people that they elected. So the Palestinians are not just caught behind an 8 ball; the 8 ball's rolling over them.
Okay, let's get back to this if we happen to. We have an open day today, and Ken from Lewisburg wants to talk about teachers. Good morning, Ken. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
Okay, what's up?
Hey, I wanted to make a comment yesterday. I'm not sure who said it. As I was driving into work, when you were talking about the pension crisis, and the comment from someone there was made that the teachers are to get their pension, their benefits, and all of those things because they're lower paid employees, and that is to entice them to work for the system. That was what you purported yesterday.
Well, yeah, I think I said that, and I was talking with Mike Tobash from the 125th District, to Representative Joe McGranahan, and that is one of the things that many years ago, when my wife was a teacher, for instance, my now ex-wife, she was paid very little, but the benefits were pretty good, and the idea was you'd work for less, but you get better benefits. Now, that may have changed now. What is your comment?
Well, if you go to teachersalaryinfo.com, in Lewisburg, the average pre-K salary is $27,227. The average kindergarten teacher makes $48,900. The elementary teacher's average salary is $51,000. The middle school is $58,000, and the high school is $54,000.
Now, you are comparing people with at least 4 years of college education with those teachers?
I'm going by what the average mean salary is in Lewisburg.
Okay, so that would be lower than a professional salary? I'm not sure, but I think so.
That I don't know, but it's certainly not the poverty line. Once you add in the benefits, meaning the medicals, which is very low copay, if any, you add in the pension, which in most cases, if you're there long enough, will be anywhere from 60 to 75% of their salary. I beg to differ. I don't think they're low paid.
Okay, well, certainly teachers' salaries have gotten better over the years. There's no question about that. Are they paid what they should be? There are some of us who think not, some people who think that they are. It may depend upon the teacher.
Well, absolutely, and you can come from both directions in that particular argument. Because it's not a merit-based system, that debate will be open forever, probably.
Yeah, but also look at the length of contract and hours worked per year.
Well, the hours...
And then prorate that.
The work in the classroom is 180 hours, I believe. 180 days, I'm sorry. But the work outside of the classroom, it is by far more than that. Maybe.
Well, to some degree, for some teachers, I'm sure it is. But look at the contract and then prorate the salaries on a yearly basis compared to the workforce. If you want to get apples to apples.
How about apples to apples? Let's compare lawyers and teachers who have something of a comparable education. Does that work for you, Ken?
Could be. I don't know what the average salary of a lawyer is. I mean, obviously our district attorneys and so forth are published, but the other ones are individually ranked. I have 4 children. I'm a business owner, and I pay $1,800 a month for health insurance.
Okay.
I have to pay that out of my pocket.
$1,800 for your business, am I correct?
No,
for your
just
personal.
my family.
Okay. Have you tried to get the new Obamacare? I'll call it.
No, I actually own a financial services company, so I'm very familiar with it.
Okay.
But, no, and the reason being is when I checked into it, it would not cover everything necessary. I have 3 boys and a girl. My 3 boys are athletes, so we tend to spend an exorbitant amount of time in the emergency room for athletic injuries, as is expected when you're doing multiple sports. So when I looked at it, the coverage was not as good. So I'm forced to pay that ridiculous amount of money to protect my children on an annual basis. Now, I don't know what type of coverage teachers have. I don't know what type of coverage state workers have. I'm not just picking on teachers by any means, because they do provide a tremendous amount of service to children. But I just think it needs to be a little more balanced as to our approach, instead of saying, oh, poor teacher, oh, poor state worker, because it really isn't that bad to be able to get a pension for the rest of your life. If you retire at age 65 and you get 70% of your salary, and your final salary was $60,000, you're going to receive a pension for the rest of your life for $42,000 a year. In order for me to get $42,000 a year for the rest of my life, I would have to save $1 million at a 4.2% rate of return.
Okay.
While raising 4 children and paying for health insurance.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken. We appreciate your input. As we go on, what is your comment, Ben?
Well, the pension
Any particular
system,
mention?
Fixed pension systems. We're seeing what's going on with them. They're not going to be sustainable, and we're seeing the pension crisis now. We talked about it 2 years ago or 3 years ago on the show. The fixed pension systems that a lot of the public sector workers have gotten into. Going to be very interesting what's going to happen in the future.
Well, yesterday, as I mentioned, we had Mike Tobash on, a representative from the 127th. He's the one that's working with Tom Corbett, our governor, to bring forth a pension change. Joe and I listened to him, asked a lot of questions, and we got a couple of emails afterward. And I'll tell you what, let's do, Kevin, if you are ready. We are going to take a quick break here. Then I'll come back with a couple of emails. And don't forget, you can still give us a call at 1-800-795-9565. You are listening to On the Mark.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, got to go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Big data may be just another overused buzzword, but storing, sharing, protecting, and recovering big data is a big deal to companies, big or small. Barracuda Networks offers powerful, affordable, yet easy-to-implement solutions for data protection and disaster recovery, email archiving, file sharing, and e-signing, all designed to protect big data and simplify IT. For an online demo or to try any of our storage solutions risk-free for 30 days, visit barracuda.com/bigdata.
As the sun was setting over my son's blanket fort, a smile crossed my face because I had dinner covered. Earlier at Walmart, my senses told me my family would want something delicious. Coca-Cola and a market-side rotisserie chicken from the deli answered the call.
Mom, can I have some more?
Looks like another dinner saved by Mom the Incredible.
Find the effortless meal your family deserves at the Walmart Deli with a tender market-side rotisserie chicken, 2 pounds of savory potato salad, and icy cold 2-liter Coke for $9.50 or less. Tax deposit and CRV not included.
Coming up today at 3, the best of the Steve Jones Show. Adam Rittenberg and Josh Moyer of ESPN, Tony Knopp, Spotlight Ticket Management, and Pirates Baseball with Tim Neverett. 3 to 5 of the best of the Steve Jones Show on WKOK.
Teacher. Wait a minute. Who is that, Ben? Who is that? Come on.
Van Halen, I hope.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay. Okay, I said we were going to come back and read an email about the pension system. You are on the mark. Don't forget to give us a call. We are ready to take it. 1-800-795-9565. Or you can email us at the Lenape Solar email in basket or the in-mail e-basket, and that would be at WKOK.com. Don't forget Lenape is LenapeSolar.com. The email I was talking about, unsigned, came in yesterday a little bit too late, and it's while Representative Tobash was here. I realized that the representative was not in office at the time of the change to state pensions in 2001. But something I never hear mentioned is the fact that state employees were enticed to vote for the change since it increased their pension and contribution by 25%. But it also increased lawmakers' pensions by 50%. Any mention of reducing that? Haven't heard any. Are you familiar with that, Ben? I do not have that in my mind.
Well, you go back to the Ridge administration and you see some of the pensions, some of the legislation that did change the pension. And again, within Within Pennsylvania, you look at both parties, but right now we're going down a path that does not look sustainable in what our pension obligations are. And a couple weeks ago, we talked about school districts, and you look at the pie chart of the expenses of a school district, and the pension part is just increasing, and it's not just increasing small amounts, but you're looking at school districts that have a pension liability increasing 50%, 75%, 100% within 5 years, from 2010 to 2015. And that's also what's going on nationally with the baby boomer groups going into retirement. And the gentleman who called earlier, when you look at it, if you're on the private sector and to get a consistent, and you don't have a fixed pension like on the public sector, but you would have to put away millions of dollars at a return of, let's say, 4 or 5%, to have a fixed pension, roughly 5%, $2 million, $100,000, you're going to pay tax. So, again, fixed pensions that are guaranteed compared to the private sector.
Well, how about the letter here that there were 50% raise in the pensions for the lawmakers, and now we blame the teachers for it? Come on.
We didn't say teachers. I think we said state workers or public sector.
But we are talking about teachers' pensions hurting the school districts.
Well, teachers' pensions, administrative pensions.
How about the lawmakers' pensions?
Well, that's state pensions. But I think the public sector pensions is what you want to look at in the whole group. And you can put the politicians in there also.
But if you have the public sector, and this is something where Ken, who had called us a little while ago, I kind of disagree with him on one of his premises. And that is, he said the average salary in Lewisburg is in the 20,000s, maybe high 20s. The teachers' salaries are 40 to maybe 60,000. Well, you have to compare apples and apples. What is the average educational level of the people in Lewisburg? For instance, there are people in Lewisburg like myself who didn't finish college. There are people who didn't go to college. There are people who have multiple educations. And you have to kind of take the same thing. That's the reason I put lawyers and teachers together.
What does it matter what your education is? What the bottom line is, they're comparing income, compensation. So what does it matter?
So it doesn't matter to you when you hire somebody for your business, whether they know anything about it or not, just hire them.
No, not at all.
No?
Then he was comparing compensation. So does it matter what education level you have? Compensation was what the comparable numbers were.
Okay.
So if somebody makes $10 an hour or somebody makes $30 an hour, they were comparing what the median compensation is.
But you have to remember that the person who has a 4-year college education, most teachers have more than that, have huge debt. They have earned a different salary level.
It's supply and demand on what the levels are of what you get paid.
Okay.
So what does it matter? I mean, if you go and have an education and that improves your skills levels and you can get better compensation, that's fine. But again, he was comparing compensation levels. So those are numbers.
Yeah, the numbers have to be apples to apples.
What do you mean apples to apples?
Well, it's if you compare the guy who is working as, let's say, a waiter in a restaurant, who has finished high school, he's a darn good waiter, makes great tips, makes a little bit of money, he really should not probably be paid the same as a school teacher who has a specialty, who deals with kids and 4 years of education. So I don't think those are comparable.
Well, if you want to, so what are you trying to compare? I mean, you're obviously pro-teacher, pro-union, pro-government workers. So
I am pro-honesty here, and we're not talking honestly.
What do you compare? If you have a county or a school district where the median income is $27,000, and that's the level. So that's your taxation levels. That's what you look at. Now all of a sudden you have a mayor of the city, and that mayor is going to be paid $60,000. Well, hold it. How can you sustain that? So at some point when you're in a society or when we're in a community, the levels of what you're bringing in from the private sector, your tax levels, and of course public employees pay taxes too, your tax levels will dictate certain amounts that people will be paid. Your police chief, your fire chief, to a degree. If you live in a community where the median income is up over $56,000 a year or higher, then you're going to have public sector jobs that are going to be compensated higher. Now, if you want to go talk about skill levels and that, you can do that. But there's a lot of people with a lot of college educations that are underpaid, and there's a lot of people who don't have college educations that make compensation because of their skill level and their workability or marketability.
I do have those numbers you were looking for, Than. High school or higher graduation rate in Lewisburg, or high school or higher in Lewisburg, over 25 years of age, is 91%. The bachelor's degree is 40%. Graduate or professional degree is 15%. Those are the numbers based on the last census in Lewisburg.
Oh, that surprises me. I thought it would be that last category would be higher than that in a college community.
According to the last census, it was 15% for graduate or professional degree. Bachelor's degree or higher is 40%.
Okay, so I would say that we should at least be paying a teacher's everybody. Take all the salaries of people with a bachelor's degree and then look at what the teachers are making compared to them.
The only problem with that, Than, is
the market decide.
Well, the only problem with that, Than, is now you're valuing the degree and not the person.
Oh yeah, well that's very true. I was purposely doing that, but I'm. What did you just say, Ben? You just said you have to.
The market.
It's
the market rate.
Supply and demand doesn't work with school teachers, does it?
Should.
Okay.
Certainly should.
Okay. In the private sector, it certainly does.
Well, why doesn't it work in the public sector? That's part of the problem.
Okay. Whoop. Here's part of the problem. We keep being interrupted. But this program is called On the Mark. Ben Reichley's across from me. And we keep hearing from Kevin Herr. And thank you, Kevin. He's keeping the webcam up and going. We are going to be going with an open day right up until 10 o'clock this morning. The program brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company on 4th Street in Sunbury. This is WKOK Sunbury.
CBS News, I'm Frank Satapani. President Obama has authorized airstrikes to protect Americans and Iraqi Christians from marauding Sunni Muslim fighters, and late word has just come in that a first strike on ISIS insurgent artillery has been carried out. CBS's David Martin tells us U.S. cargo planes have delivered a lifeline to members of a religious sect on a remote mountaintop that's surrounded by ISIS fighters.
3 cargo planes escorted by 2 American fighter jets dropped 72 pallets of food and water. The drop itself only lasted 15 minutes and no shots were fired.
CBS's Holly Williams tells us ISIS fighters have seized control of Iraq's biggest dam.
There are fears that ISIS could use the dam as a weapon, inundating hundreds of square miles of land.
3 days of relative tranquility in Gaza have ended. Israeli spokesman Mark Regev says Hamas was the first to fire and Israel had no choice but to respond.
By breaking the ceasefire, not have they shown their total disregard for Israeli civilian life, but also for the Palestinians in Gaza who they claim to represent, who wanted this ceasefire to succeed.
Hurricane Iselle grew weaker overnight, but it's moving through the Hawaiian Islands at a more leisurely pace. WFOR TV forecaster Craig Setzer tells us that means it's going to leave much more rain in its wake.
Anywhere from 1 to 2 feet is possible, and that means life-threatening flash floods and possibly widespread flash floods.
Some people's credit scores are going to go up. Live to CBS News correspondent Jim Taylor.
Now, say you once settled an unpaid bill with a collection agency. A record of that figures into your credit score. But as the Wall Street Journal reports, the Fair Isaac Corporation now says it will stop taking settled collections into account, and it will give less weight to unpaid medical bills that are with a collection agency. That means your FICO score may improve, making it easier for tens of millions of Americans to get loans they could not get otherwise. Frank?
Who's on the other end of the line when a teenager is driving and talking on the phone? CBS's Barry Bagnatto has the answer.
It surprised psychologist Noelle Lavoie that her survey of teenagers in 31 states showed a big reason why young drivers are distracted is they're chatting with mom or dad.
Teens said they talk to their parents on their cell phone while driving more often than they talk to their friends.
Many said they figured it was okay because their parents use cell phones behind the wheel. These findings are being presented at the American Psychological Association convention.
A day after the prosecutor told a South African judge Oscar Pistorius shot and killed his girlfriend in cold blood, the defense got its turn to sum up. Attorney Barry Rue told the court the disabled Blade Runner thought he'd be killed by an intruder, reliving a lifelong fear.
You're a little boy without legs. You experience daily that disability and the effect of this. You experience daily that you cannot run away.
The judge's verdict isn't expected for several more weeks. S&P futures are up 4.5 points. This is CBS News.
The garage floor, a foundation for the cardboard you lie on, under your car, wrench in hand, a place to rest a cold beverage and put Saturday to good use. So Advance Auto Parts lets you order your parts online at advanceautoparts.com and pick them up in-store in just 30 minutes. So you can get back to the garage doing what you love. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage.
Visit advanceautoparts.com to learn more.
Look, kid, when guys like us walk into a facility in the morning, we can smell a problem. No one needs to hand us a work order. We already know it. Today, for instance, we need a new gearbox, 6 globe valves, and a dozen ballasts. And when I smell a problem, Grainger smells that I smell a problem. They help me keep this place up and running. Now that's the kind of smell I like. The sweet smell of success. Get it? Got it? Good. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tomorrow, August 9th, will be the 40th anniversary of a singular event in American history, Richard Nixon's resignation. CBS News White House correspondent Peter Mayer.
The Nixon legacy will forever be defined by the Watergate scandal and what happened on this date when the 37th president resigned in disgrace. In his Oval Office speech to the nation, Richard Nixon became the first and still only president in U.S. history to resign.
I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body.
Mr. Nixon acknowledged some of his decisions were wrong, but in that speech he did not admit to any wrongdoing. But he later said that he brought himself down. Peter Mayer, CBS News, the White House.
The big excitement at the White House last night involved a toddler who slithered through a gate and got onto the ground. Secret Service agents put a quick end to the unscheduled visit. The spokesman says agents won't try to question the intruder until at least he's old enough to talk. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
The garage floor, a foundation for the cardboard you lie on, under your car, wrench in hand, a place to rest a cold beverage and put Saturday to good use. So Advance Auto Parts lets you order your parts online at advanceautoparts.com and pick them up in-store in just 30 minutes. So you can get back to the garage doing what you love. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage.
Visit advanceautoparts.com to learn more.
The world is very different since Geico started saving people money over 75 years ago. This interweb thing? Not around. You wanted to know the answer to something? You just asked Old Man Russell. And if he didn't know, he made it up. That's why everyone in my town thought lightning bugs were filled with real lightning. Hey, we weren't always the sharpest tools in the shed, but we knew Geico was a smart deal.
Geico, saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years.
News Radio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Than Mitchell and Ben Reichley.
Good morning. I'm Than Mitchell. I'm on this side of the desk. Who are you over there?
I hope Ben Reichley, I hope.
Yep. I hope he's Ben Reichley, too. He looks so much like him. He better be. He is, I don't know, Mark introduces you in many ways. I don't call you an ultra-conservative. You're a very conservative man. You have what you call Republican values, what some people might call Republican values, would you say? Am I right?
I don't know if I'd call them Republican. I'd say hopefully they're American values. Hopefully they're
Well, I hear you talk
values.
against Obama and the Democrats and liberals, and that
if you
sounds...
can talk, if you can disagree on policy.
Oh, of course.
But
that's why this program exists, Ben. Is because
at what point are policies not party, but there to move the country forward?
Always hopeful. That hasn't been happening much. This is On the Mark, brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company. They invite you to visit the Quick Lane on North 4th Street in Sunbury. They specialize in all types of service on vehicles, state inspections, nitrogen for your tires, and they're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 7, Saturday, 7 to 3. So you can get in there this weekend and get some work done there in their department. The Lenape Solar email in basket is open. That is on the mark at WKOK.com. Just address it that way and it will get there, as some people's emails have this morning. At Lenape Solar, they invite you to harness the power of the sun for a brighter tomorrow. And right now, I'm going to bring you a couple of news headlines, and then we'll get back to our discussion. Maybe pension, or if you give us a call or an email, we could change in any direction today since it's open. Police are investigating after a Sunbury attorney and candidate for Northumberland County Commissioner said someone tampered with her vehicle. Kimberly Best filed a report with the Sunbury Police Thursday. She says someone sabotaged her car by removing key parts from the drive shaft. On her Facebook page, Best says she took her vehicle to a garage on Wednesday. The mechanic told her the bolts to her drive shaft were unscrewed, and that just doesn't happen. Best claims the drive shaft dropped from her vehicle on Front Street while she was driving with her children. That can be tremendously dangerous. It's called pole vaulting. So if somebody actually did that, they put Kimberly in great danger. Animal welfare authorities say they've rescued dozens of roosters after breaking up a cockfighting ring in Berks County. One person was arrested Thursday, but the suspect was not identified by the Pennsylvania Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Cockfighting is a felony. Smokey Bear is turning 70 on Saturday. Don't bring any candles to the celebration, as the friendly, huggable bear with brimmed hat and shovel enters his golden years. He's burning up Twitter, but his message of fire prevention through personal responsibility hasn't changed that much. And it's usually somebody jumping over the White House fence that causes Secret Service agents patrolling the grounds to scramble. But on Thursday night, a toddler passing through slats in a gate caught the eyes of a gun-toting officers who were charged with protecting the president. Secret Service spokesman Edwin Donovan said the child was returned to his parents. Neither the boy nor his parents were identified. Donovan joked that agents were going to wait until the toddler learned to talk to question him about the incident, but said he instead was given a timeout and returned to his parents. Those guys, kind of nice if they want to be. Huh? I've been talking, by the way, with a guy who was a security guy for the White House in the Nixon administration during the Vietnam War, and his memories, although I never heard anything quite like that, his memories are rather interesting.
I'm sure there's very interesting stories by the agents who are around the different presidents and the dignitaries and the folks that visit the White House.
Oh, yeah. And I would say throughout the history of the White House, if you go back into history, sometimes it's been burned down. But in the history of the White House, a lot has happened there. We have been talking about the pension plan for state employees and school teachers and what have you. And according to, this is an email, according to the Pennsylvania Department of Education site, Investing in Pennsylvania Students, the average teacher's salary in 2013 for the Lewisburg Area School District is $63,300. The cost of their benefits, $24,000, and a total compensation of $87,400. Now that starts to look like a salary for someone who has 4 years of education. Any disagreement? Now, understandable that understanding that school teachers have tenure and unions, which some people question. Does that seem like a reasonable salary for somebody who has invested $200,000 in their education?
Well, I questioned invested $200,000 recently. If again, what is the market? But you put. Did we lose our email, I guess?
No, put that back up again. Would you, Kevin, please? Yeah, Kevin's in charge of our meet. Thank you. There you are. Go ahead.
Well, you missed the last line. The median family income in the Lewisburg Area School District is $56,587.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, your point here is you're trying to say that because you have a 4-year education, you deserve X amount compensation in return. And if the district can afford that, and if that's what they want to pay, but when you look at then the total contract, so if you want to say $56,000 a year is based on a yearly salary, that's per year. The $87,400 that we're looking at for the total compensation for a teacher is based on their contract, and their contract is 180, 190 days, whatever those might be. So again, when you seem to come from the premise that teachers deserve this money because they have a 4-year education.
Lawyers do, and everybody who invests in an education is, according to national statistics, going to make money a lot more money in their life than someone like myself who quit college and just has a high school education. It's just the way it's going to be. So it is, yes, they are worth it, I would say.
Okay,
they've made an investment and they want a return on their investment.
But that's what the market will tell you. If you go to and get a 4-year, just because you have a 4-year degree, let's say I go and get a 4-year degree in art history. Well, what is the market for art history? We're talking about teachers, and again, also too, you make the comment that they go and they get master's degrees. Well, you look at master's degrees, and I believe it was Bill Gates' foundation, and it ran in the Philadelphia Inquirer about 3 or 4 years ago, talked about just because a teacher has a master's doesn't make the students in the class, the students aren't better because their teachers have masters. And that was, again, you look at also, is it a master in the discipline that they're teaching, or is it a master's in education? So you want to compare lawyers to teachers, but the market really makes those decisions, and the market will compare your skill level to your compensation level.
Hi there, Sammy. What's on your mind this morning?
I'm trying to recover my half of the business, and you can help me here. All I want is a lawyer who's can practice before the United States Supreme Court.
Have you talked to lawyers?
What's that, sir?
Have you talked to lawyers who can practice before the Supreme Court?
I haven't found any yet. I've been on the internet. I'm going back on there again.
Yeah, I think you should. I'm not sure where you find those folks.
Yeah, no, they're not on there. Are we live now or what?
We're pretty much live. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you alive?
Yes, I'm very much so.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes.
Now let me ask you this question.
All right.
If you've got a lawyer who admits to you at a later date that he lied before the judge, how do you handle a situation like that?
Got another lawyer?
Huh?
I don't know. Ben, what's your answer to this? If your lawyer lied to the judge, do you get another lawyer and take it to the judge? I don't know, Sammy. You're asking questions that I don't have the degree to answer. And apparently neither does Ben, nor I don't hear anything from Kevin either.
Well, he admitted this after many years. Not many years. No, I'm not. After, I think about a month later, after appearing before the judge, he admitted that he did receive the document of have made a jury trial possible.
I would imagine that would have to be something that would be handled by the state bar.
So, Sammy, we really can't help you this morning, but we do appreciate your dilemma.
That is a jungle. They don't like to discipline fellow lawyers,
Yeah, well, that may be a problem, but thank you very much, Sammy. We appreciate that. I think we're on the air now with Dave. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Good morning. I'm pretty good.
Good.
You're putting so much emphasis on this college degree. You're not putting emphasis on someone's abilities.
Oh, well, doesn't ability come with training?
When you're comparing the state versus the civilian world out here, number one, and I've been had employees that with college degrees, and if they can't do the job, I can get rid of them. You can't do that with a teacher.
Well, I did mention the fact that they have tenure in a union, which may be an impediment to the best future.
The other thing is, just because someone has a degree doesn't mean that they have an ability.
No, but they have invested a lot in their future, and people do feel that extra education does deserve extra pay, mainly because it has extra production, or should. Not does everybody?
Okay.
Of course not, but it should.
Okay, well, a while back you had on that you were in the hospital for some surgery. So, would you want a doctor that is competent, or just somebody that has a degree?
Well, I'd certainly want them to have the degree.
But either way, two guys with degrees, one's a competent doctor, one is an incompetent doctor.
Well,
Should
of course
they both
you'd want
have
the
same
competent one.
opportunity to do surgery on you because they both have the same degree?
No, but
that's the thing with the teachers, is that just because they both have two different teachers have the same degree does not mean that they're both competent and that they're able to do the same job.
I think we're talking two different things here because, yeah, people are different and degrees are different and students are different. However, on a national average, people with 4 years of college make more than people who graduate from high school. People with masters more than just a graduate degree, and doctors make more. That's on a national average, and there must be a reason for that, and that reason probably is competency.
But when you get out here in the private sector, Sam, just because someone has a degree does not mean that they're competent. And in the private sector, that you want to compare the state sector against the private sector. In the private sector, someone, no matter what their degree is, if they're not competent in their job, you can get rid of them, but you can't do that with a teacher.
Well, yeah.
So you're comparing a lot of different things.
Yeah, we have, once again, we've come around in a circle.
180-some days of school versus the full work year that the public sector person is doing, or the private sector person is doing.
Okay, your point is well taken.
And again, when you bring up about how the teachers are doing all this after hours, well, then does that mean that any of these teachers that are sports coaches, that they aren't doing their job because they have all this spare time to be a coach?
Many of them are compensated, aren't they, for coaching?
That's correct, but by the same token, if this math teacher, if he has 6 hours of work at night to do to correct students' tasks or to get ready to prepare for the next day's classes and all this kind of stuff, then a teacher that is also a coach, if he's being compensated to be a coach, that's fine, but is he doing his regular teaching job properly and to the best of his ability if he's spending all the time being a coach?
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And by the way, as we go to now Dale in Sunbury, I've been told, please stop interrupting everybody, so I will do that. Dale, I won't interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you got tree growers and tree choppers. Politicians are tree choppers. And what they do is hire the biggest law firms, and they're just in business to make money, so all they're doing is using code, which is law, where you can't understand the law, average citizens, and what they'll do is just keep suppressing the middle class until eventually it's just going to be two classes. That's basically what it is. Right now, biggest law firms in the United States are just taking over, and they're rewriting the laws the way they want to rewrite it. And it's just so untransparent that nobody will have a chance. These kids in college ain't going to have a chance either. So
okay, okay. Your point is taken. Thank you very much. And I have no comment on that. Obviously, I disagree. I think lawyers do a great job in keeping our Constitution together. And can they hurt us? Yeah, I suppose they can, but so can anybody in a situation like that. Doctors, lawyers, auto mechanics, anybody can not do their job correctly.
One of the things about your skill level and education level is, and you might have a degree, but your skill level might not meet up to that degree. People who have degrees, skill levels do meet that, but also a lot of the disciplines, occupational disciplines, have certifications and licensing that go with it. Doctors are board certified. You get auto mechanics that are licensed, beauticians that are licensed. I mean, so again, sometimes the education system teaches you to learn, then you learn your trade or you hone your skills with further education or further study. But one thing about, again, the information is the median income in Lewisburg at 56, the average compensation for a teacher showed 87, and again, that's contract, that's per contract. So, you say, can communities get through that, meaning that they take the level of what's coming into the pipeline, the taxes that come in from the taxpayers, and then how will that go out into the community for those public jobs, for the teaching jobs, for the police, for fire, if that's for your DPW workers. And that's what communities now are seeing all around the country, is the squeeze on the compensations for the public sector.
Of course, we did start this on pensions and the fact that pension reform, because of Mike Tobash, the representative, being here yesterday. And we'll be back after we take a quick break here. This is On the Mark, brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company. The Sunbury Motor Company sells Fords, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln cars, and they've got all kinds of trucks. Just listen to Mark, and he will drool over one of those trucks every day. The Lenape Solar email in basket is open on the mark at WKOK.com, and we will be back just in a moment on the Mark.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Hello, this is Justin Charles from Lenape Solar. Did you know that through energy savings of almost $5 million per year, our customers are saving the environment the equivalent of over 98 million miles of driving and eliminating the annual carbon dioxide emissions of over 5,600 homes each year? Do you want to know how to be a part of these amazing numbers? Call us at 286-1496 or visit us online at Facebook or LenapeSolar.com today and find out more about our exclusive Buy American partners for solar energy and energy-efficient lighting upgrades.
Hi, this is real estate agent Dale Tittle from Bowen Agency Realtors. If you are thinking of buying or selling a home, I can help. Whether it's downtown or the rural Susquehanna Valley, buyer and seller opportunities are better than ever. Call me at Bowen Agency Realtors to find out more. Many experts say real estate is the key to long-term wealth. So start building your future with me, Dale Tittle, the house sold name in real estate, when you call Bowen Agency Realtors at 570-743-2165 for all your real estate needs.
Come on home to convenience. Come on over with style. Come on home to real savings. Service with the real smile.
Hey, why search the newspaper classifieds when the best yard sales are at Kohl's Hardware?
Come on home to Kohl's annual yard sale event for the best prices of the year on seasonal merchandise, overstock items, and closeout products.
Show up early for bargain prices on grills, patio furniture, solar lights, pool toys, lawn and garden merchandise, and more.
Smart yard sale shoppers know that each yard sale is unique, so be sure to shop all 11 Kohl's Hardware locations.
And be sure to shop Kohl's yard sale event often, since the prices keep going down.
Now is the perfect time to buy hand and power tools, fountains, hose carts, statuary, paint, automotive goods, houseware items, and more.
Look for the big white tents at all 11 Kohl's Hardware stores and shop the yard sales. We're right around the corner, right here in your hometown. Come on home to Kohl's.
Come on home to Kohl's. Kohl's Hardware. Come on home to Kohl's.
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the
Weekend coming up. What are you doing this weekend, Ben? You going to go to a football practice?
No, I don't think there is any. But next week is when all the scrimmages start. So I will probably relax and get all the things done you need to get done on the weekend.
I want everybody to note I was the one that brought up football this morning because I kind of felt that Ben and Kevin have been, unable to feed themselves on football for the last while.
It got started. I believe there was some NFL football games last night, preseason. There'll probably be some tonight.
Made me cry. I hate to see fall coming.
The Penn State football team is practicing, probably along with their field hockey team and the other fall sports. The fall sports in the local high schools are getting started. Summer is coming to
a
quick end, and in 2 weeks? 3 weeks from today would be the official start of football season in the area. So,
and your child goes back to school when? Soon?
Yeah, it keeps getting sooner. I believe I talked to some folks in Arizona, and those schools are back in right now. I believe down in Florida and Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. Some of the schools are starting this week, so it seems like high school starts earlier and earlier. But again, more breaks within the year. So,
by the way, I do believe Than mentioning football is pretty much.
Hey, I just wanted to be fair. Let's get back to the pension idea. Yesterday, when Mike Tobash was here, again, I'll mention he's a representative from the 125th district, which is down near Berks County. He is working with Governor Tom Corbett to get some pension reform going. And I said yesterday, without really having the facts before me, that there must be some some reason to be against it. And Joe and I both felt that way. And so we started looking around, and I did anyway. And what I found out was that there is a question about Tobash's proposal. I think it's called the Tobash bill. The question is, what good does it do when it doesn't do anything for 11 years? The answer may be you got to take the first step. But this Republican, whose name escapes me at the moment, Barar, said that it's just not going to work because it takes 11 years to kick in, and the Tobash proposal has a 7.9% growth in Pennsylvania, which is ridiculous. And that's kind of the opposition, that it's not perfect.
Well, the basic plans, and we can go to the caller here too, but the basic plans that I've seen, and even the entitlements on the federal side, are all looking at, there's a number, let's say age 55, and the folks above 55, Social Security pensions will keep relatively the exact same thing. It's the adjustments they make for the folks under 55 or whatever that number is that is going to make the system sustainable, and that's a macro or just an overview of what most of these proposals have been.
Gentlemen, quick news update from the WKOK newsroom, and if you would have been a member of WKOK's Text Connect, you would have received this already. The U.S. has launched airstrikes in Iraq. CBS News is reporting that an American F-18 jet fighter dropped a 500-pound bomb on the ISIS artillery piece that was shelling the Kurdish positions. So we'll have more on that coming up with NBC News at 10, and you can go online to WKOK.com for the latest.
Okay, Kevin, sad news that things are not going well in Iraq. We might talk about that, but first we've got Cindy on the line. Hi, Cindy. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to say, one, that I believe that we owe these teachers and other school employees and state employees the pension they were promised when they were hired. And there's no escaping that. There's no magic fairy to fix this. However, we don't owe a similar generous benefit to future hires. And we have a right to recognizing that what we've created is not sustainable unless you want to cut back on school programs and consolidate school districts. It's not sustainable. So, to me, this is like the classic story where the wife is telling the husband, turn here, and he refuses and goes the other direction and expects that magically he'll end up where he was supposed to go. I mean, the problem is, you're right in what you mentioned, that the earnings are never likely to meet the demand. And that in law, every year this payment that the state taxpayers, twice, the state taxpayers and the local school district taxpayers, how much we'll pay this year, 20% of payroll, 20% of payroll, that it will grow next year, 24, and up to, I believe he quoted something over 30%. That's going to happen, 30%. Then if we don't do something, we are forced to follow that role, which I believe we should be paying in. It was wrong that we didn't pay in when I was on the board, and I couldn't understand why Governor Rendell kept pushing to reduce sharply. We did pay something when I was on the board, something on the order of 4% or something. We did pay something, but it was supposed to be 7% and 9%, and we'd never paid that level of contribution. And that's that percent times the total payroll of your district, if you want to get a grasp of how much this is. So if we don't change what we're doing, then when the board meets, it can raise property taxes to the limit. It can then seek referendum to increase it even higher. And unless the majority of people in the community agree to that, it will have to go back and reduce its budget. And so if we don't change this, we're choosing to reduce the spending in school districts. And how are they going to do that? We could get rid of all this redundancy of management. However, there's great resistance to doing that because it would invite the changing of who controls individual school districts. Now, I get Benton has 800 kids and a full management complement. And right next door is Millville, and they have less than 800 kids and the full complement of management. Here in Selinsgrove, 2,700 kids
Cindy,
under that complement.
Cindy, so, I hate to interrupt you, but we know that the pensions have to be changed. And, we have enumerated the reasons. I think the question is, how do we change the system? And I had a question for you when you were on the school board. Did the state make their contributions to the school that they should have made. I have information that the state has not put in anything since 2003, and some of the school districts also were not putting money in.
That's inaccurate.
That's inaccurate.
May I set the record straight as I know it? Every year, there's an agency, it's called PESERS, P-E-S-E-R-S. They gave a report every year at budget time, and they said, you should pay, and let me just pick this number, 7%. You owe 7% of payroll towards PESERS, towards the pension fund, in order for it to be sustainable. And that edict went to the state government and the school district, because we pay twice. The state pays and the school district pays. Okay. So they would put out this number. Let's say it's 7%. And when the budget was passed under the Rendell years, they would in the law that passed the budget, they would reduce the amount that they would pay. They would overrule what PESERS said, and they would reduce that amount. But it was never zero when I was on the school board. So I'm telling you, we paid 3, 4, 5%.
Okay.
Never zero.
Okay.
Now, the consequence of that, and then the market crashed. You have to glue all these things together. Then the market crashed. So they were expecting to make 13% on their investments. Well, have you tried to buy a CD? Right now it's like less than 0.5%. So they weren't making 13%, and consequently they weren't pouring money into the fund. So next year they come back and say to the schools, gosh, you better pay, let's pick a number, 9% to maintain enough money to pay out and to meet future obligations. And Rendell and the General Assembly passed a budget, and they said, no, we're not paying no 9%. Are you out of your minds? And so then they would pay, let's say, 5%. So they paid something, but they never paid what PESERS said. And in the end, recognizing in 2010's budget that they had dug this horrific hole, they made a new pension rule, the General Assembly. And they said that every year the amount that the school district and the state would pay in would rise by 4%. And now we find ourselves at 20%.
Okay, now Cindy, we know that we have the problem. Is there a way, and I'm going to have to take you off the air pretty shortly, but do you have a fix for this? Do you have an idea of how to fix it? That's what I was hoping we would come to today, was some idea of how to fix it, as Kevin would say.
Yeah, you have to pay in the money that you owe to the pension fund. So then the question is, let me put in a different perspective.
What do you mean pay in the money that you owe the pension fund?
We owe the pension fund the money to meet our obligation. We have to pay the bill. It's like a credit card. So to fix the problem that there's inadequate money in the billions in the pension fund, the state taxpayers and, again, the local taxpayers have to contribute ever more money until we have refilled the pot. We have to do that.
Okay.
There's no magical get-out-of-jail-free card on that.
Okay.
No more than you should be. It isn't even like a credit card. I could, I guess, declare bankruptcy and burn all the people that sold me things with a credit card. You can't do that with this. We have to pay this money.
Okay.
So then the question really is, where will we find those dollars? And what's happening now is the school districts are raising property taxes to find those dollars. They are going to referendum and asking people to pay even more. And they're going to have to reduce their spending in other areas to make up the money they need.
Okay, Cindy, thank you very much. Yeah, really, fix it. Yeah, that is mainly a problem. And I know the first response to this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Governor Corbett cut $1 billion out of the school, and Ben's shaking his head if you have us on our webcam now.
Where did he cut it from?
Well, he cut it from the school budget, the education budget.
K to 12 under the Corbett administration, the budgets have increased every year.
Well, that's after cutting out $1 billion at the beginning. It hasn't increased $1 billion.
No, it hasn't. We'll pull the numbers.
Okay, pull the numbers.
The numbers of K-12 education spending has increased in Pennsylvania. The numbers that you're talking about
not
are
to the point
federal,
where it's up to what we need.
No, what do you need? Holy smokes.
We need to educate our children in.
You're spending on average, I think, is Pennsylvania 9, and we'll grab the information here. I mean, your purpose is to put more money at the problem instead of understanding the problem, and particularly in the public sector, where you are a big government person, meaning that
I am a big government person.
You're saying that we should increase. How do you know that it shouldn't be increased in administration if you're saying we're not educating our children right? You're saying teachers need to be paid more.
No, what I said was I don't find them to be overpaid. Number one, we do have to fix compensation, the pension, and everybody wants to just talk about, well, this is bad and that is bad. I'd like to know what to do to fix it.
Teachers and administrators in the education business are pretty. If you look at the stats that we just saw in Lewisburg, in the borough of Lewisburg, when the median family income's $56,600 and they're at $87,400 for a contract year, and that contract year is, let's say, 190 days. If you prorate that out to the working days that working family's doing, its education is a pretty good compensation level.
Okay, so now we know where you stand on teachers. What we need to do is talk about the pensions. What do we do about that? We can't take the pensions away that have already been contracted. We know that.
Well, you adjust, like I said, you adjust the pensions now that are coming in
the future. And that's what Mike Tobash was talking about yesterday. That does nothing for 11 years. What do we do for 11 years?
I haven't seen Tobash's complete plan, so if it's not doing it, then the plan would be, what are you doing today and what are you doing tomorrow? But also, too, the school districts, you're not going to keep getting more out of the taxpayers, because the taxpayers are getting to a level where they feel they're overtaxed. Now you have school districts that are building new schools because they say they need it. You have again, look at the business of education, and you can smile.
I'm smiling. You're not answering what we do about pensions. That's what I keep asking. Well, you keep coming up with other things.
You make the changes, but also too, school districts, as a business, would have to look at their spending practices and how do you reduce your spending practices. But if nothing is going to change for pensions for the people that are there now, or X amount from the employees from 55 onto their retirement, then you're still going to have those pension obligations to meet. What's going to hopefully make that sustainable would be what the pension system will be for those below whatever level you choose, and we're talking about 55 here. So again, the business of education is and the compensation levels are pretty good compared to what we're seeing in the marketplace.
Okay, I'm not even arguing that. What I want to know is, how do we fix it? The Chesapeake Energy Corporation made $5.5 billion in pre-tax profits. That's pretty good. That's a private company making a lot of money, and they are employing a lot of people. They've paid almost no federal income taxes on that because they get all these tax breaks. What happens if we actually do it fairly and start charging a tax nationally or statewide on $5.5 billion of income?
This is on federal income tax.
I said that.
So let's look at what Chesapeake pays on the state level, and you look at the Pennsylvania state income tax, which is 9.9. You look at the stock and franchise taxes, and you folks that keep going after the energy industry are saying that we don't have a severance tax. Well, the purpose is what's the net dollars that a company's paying, and if the net dollars, if a oil and gas company in Texas is paying less or in Texas for doing the same amount of energy they're doing in Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania's tax code is set up different than Texas's, the net dollars coming in from the taxation, be it whatever you want to call it. So when you're talking about that, this is on the federal side.
I know,
and the federal tax code is abysmal.
What we're talking, and so it's the state tax code. We don't even charge an extraction, or what is it called? When they move out, like the coal companies did, and there was nobody to fill stuff in.
The impact fees have those. Those are within the impact fees that they're charging for the extraction and the environmental. So again, your point is to. So a severance
tax the rich is one of my ideas. Yeah.
Well, what is
well
rich?
Taxing the poor is not working so well.
Okay, so your point is to tax people to make up for the ills of the policies.
Well, you call it ills.
Well, if this pension isn't working, then it's not sustainable. Then there must be some ills to it. It's not healthy.
It could be. There's people aren't putting enough money into it. I do agree with you. I do agree with you.
Can't afford it.
Hey, by the way, we ought to take a break because Kevin's going to come right over here and down my throat. So let's take a quick break. You are listening to On the Mark. It is Ben Reichley across from me. I'm Than Mitchell. And across the way is Kevin Herr doing all the hard work this morning. I appreciate it. Kevin will be back in a moment on the Mark.
Ready to gear up and go? That's the sound of a Kubota Commander zero-turn mower. Its 10-gauge steel welded mower deck provides professional-level cutting performance for homeowners across America. And with low-rate, long-term financing available right now, you'll be saving more than just time next weekend. Kubota zero-turn mowers, built for the best things in life. Gear up and go at Kubota.com to find a dealer near you.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
The best get-togethers start with a trip to the beverage supermarket, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury. Why? Because Brewers Outlet has not only a great selection of beer, including imports and microbrews, but also a lot more. Brewers Outlet has water, soda, they roast their peanuts every day, and you can't forget about stopping by the pickle bar. Look for great deals on wine coolers and all your favorite snacks. Before you enjoy those special times with family and friends, make your visit first to the beverage supermarket, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury.
Home equity loan sales are springing up everywhere. At Mifflinburg Bank and Trust, our home equity loans offer low interest rates with the added value of personal customer care. We're the community bank focused on building lifetime relationships by providing you with valuable products and convenient, friendly services. At Mifflinburg Bank, our home equity loan sale is just one of the many ways we can add that personal touch you're looking for. Mifflinburg Bank and Trust, your community's trusted financial resource with offices located in Mifflinburg, Lewisburg, New Berlin, Millheim, and Shamokin Dam. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Life includes many financial milestones. Education, homeownership, and retirement are just a few. Managing your money wisely is crucial to meeting your day-to-day responsibilities and fulfilling your lifetime goals. I'm Betsy Guffey of Milestone Investment Services. Establishing a financial plan is essential for your financial well-being. Let me help you personalize a plan to serve as a guide for the next step in your journey. Milestone Investment Services and Mifflinburg Bank and Trust, one stop for all your financial needs.
Coming up today at 3, the Best of the Steve Jones Show. Adam Rittenberg and Josh Moyer of ESPN, Tony Knopp, Spotlight Ticket Management, and Pirates Baseball with Tim Neverett. 3 to 5 of the Best of the Steve Jones Show on WKOK.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Just because I brought up football. Okay, Paul, you're on the air. How are you?
Hawaii. Isn't that an island off the coast of California?
Where a tropical storm and a hurricane are going right now.
Well, maybe that's where all the politicians are because all the hot air seems to be going in that direction.
It could be. That's a volcanic bunch of islands out there. What's on your mind this morning?
Okay, you guys are talking about problems and trying how to resolve them, and then you are saying, what do we do in order to correct it? The problem that we have today is the problem in which this country was founded on in the beginning. So how did we resolve it then?
What problem did we have at the beginning?
Okay, you had taxation, poor government, insufficient ability, you had favoritism, you had, well, I wouldn't call it tenure, but it would be something in the line that if you had somebody in power and you were a friend of them, you got more favoritism than the people that had to work for a living.
Okay. All right.
So how did we resolve it?
I don't know. A lot of us think that maybe we ought to make a more equal taxation so that everybody pays their fair share. So people like General Electric don't get away with not paying an income tax. That's the sort of thing that will help. That means that we get a little more money coming in and then fixing the problems on the way out. You got to do that too. I agree the pension situation in Pennsylvania is bad, but instead of just talking about how bad it is, we have to talk about fixing it. We can put on fear goggles, or we can put on goggles that help us come to a conclusion.
Actually, I think I have the answer to Paul's question.
Okay.
You say you want a revolution.
Okay. Hey, Paul, thank you.
You bet.
All right. Paul always gives us...
Well, that's how it changed.
Exactly. All right. I'll tell you what, Kevin, let's take this last break, and then we can go right up to the hour. You're listening to On the Mark on WKOK in Sunbury, brought to you by the Sunbury Motor Company, and our email in basket is the Lenape Solar Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Come on home to convenience. Come on over with style. Come on home to real savings. Service with the real smile.
Hey, why search the newspaper classifieds when the best yard sales are at Kohl's Hardware?
Come on home to Kohl's annual yard sale event for the best prices of the year on seasonal merchandise, overstock items, and closeout products.
Show up early for bargain prices on grills, patio furniture, solar lights, pool toys, lawn and garden merchandise, and more.
Smart yard sale shoppers know that each yard sale is unique, so be sure to shop all 11 Kohl's Hardware locations.
And be sure to shop Kohl's yard sale event often, since the prices keep going down.
Now is the perfect time to buy hand and power tools, fountains, hose carts, statuary, paint, automotive goods, houseware items, and more.
Look for the big white tents at all 11 Kohl's Hardware stores and shop the yard sales. We're right around the corner, right here in your hometown. Come on home to Kohl's.
Come on home to Kohl's. Kohl's Hardware. Come on home to Kohl's.
You know you're not supposed to drink and drive. You know you shouldn't talk on the phone, and worse yet, text and drive. But for some reason, you still do it. Are you impressing your friends? Maybe you just think you're being cool. But if you do get into a deadly accident, you impress no one when you're dead. Say no to distracted driving. Bet you your family and friends will think you're cool.
This message brought to you by the stations of Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation, including News Radio 1070 WKOK and Sealands Grove Ford, proud supporters of Susquehanna Smart Drive.
Say you got a real solution. Well, you know, we don't love to see the plan.
All right. I just noticed something. Is today the anniversary of the day that Richard Nixon stepped down? And
40 years ago.
40 years ago. Okay, let's go to Chris in Milton. Hi, Chris. How are you? Probably going to be our last caller today, Chris.
Okay, well, I'll get right to the point then.
All right.
Standards and Poor's issued a study
on the American economy, in which they pointed out that income inequality is bad for the country and bad for the economy. And it seems to me that the best way to solve the problem of inequality of incomes is to put up a minimum wage and exorbitant taxes on the 1% and 1/10% people, instead of just topping off the highest tax bracket at $250,000 or whatever it is now. Now, I'd like to know from Ben what his solutions to the problems are. To the problem is.
Well, I think you can go through history. You don't see where governments have taxed themselves into prosperity.
I didn't say tax themselves into prosperity. I'm talking about the problem of income inequality.
Well, again, in trying to answer your question here, again, if you overtax, you understimulate your economy. And part of a growing economy and part of whatever the definition of income inequality is, but giving the people the chance to earn income is having far more taxpayers, not far more taxes. So if you take steps to open your economy up and then allow people to go into the market and then succeed, then you have a chance to grow an economy, and
So you
have
leave
different
it to chance.
classes that can move up, and if you have a
I think that's called
robust,
trickle down, isn't it?
No, you have a robust economy. You have people that will move from different
Yes, but
stages.
the point is that the growth in income equality under our current system that started in the 70s, once the tax went down on upper income people, it started then and has continued ever since. And we have had robust economies, and we've had poor economies in the period, and both of them have increased the disparity.
Okay. And Chris, I want to go back to something you...
What is a standard? Hold it, the Standard Poor's report from when?
Last week.
Okay, in what, Business Week, Newsweek?
I heard about it on TV, but I'm sure that if you look up Standards report on income inequality on Google, you will find it.
Okay, so you haven't read it. You heard it on a report then, and it was last week.
Yes.
Okay, we'll look that up and see.
Okay, Chris. One thing.
Yes, Ben.
Before
no, it'd be interesting to see what their details and how they pull the information.
It's got to be right if it's Standard & Poor's.
I mean, they're such a liberal group, I'm sure.
Yeah.
it was a
No,
prejudice.
Chris, I was asking because you didn't read it, but you heard about it. It'd be interesting to see what their details are.
Yes, it would
and,
be.
and also, too, when you define income inequality, that's something that's hard to define because what is the inequality that people are successful and unsuccessful? Or people don't have the chance to be successful.
Ben, in
matter.
1950,
how
our
do you define it?
okay, go ahead.
How do you define
Go
it
ahead.
then, Chris?
Well, you look at the average the average earner versus the highest 1%. So how much the 1% gets, the 1/10 of 1% get, the 10% get.
Okay,
we're out of time, gentlemen.
50%.
Totally out of time.
How you define?
Can't hold it. We are
Well, but
finished with our time.
So income inequality, Than, which you started to show off, is based on education, on skill level, on ability.
No, it's on the tax system, and it means the 1% makes a lot. In the Eisenhower administration, rich people were taxed at 90%, and we were going
look at the
uphill in a
deductions.
hurry.
Look at the deductions,
And let's
though.
say
Not
this is
understanding.
WKOK on the mark. And Ben, I do understand.